This is
Ascential.
This is Ascential Audio.
Welcome back to the MoneyPot, our podcast from Money 2020. I am Rachel Morrissey.
And I am Roland Bodenham, and we are the producers. We have a lot of great episodes in the works this year around topics that are concerning the innovation and industry moves around the globe.
Today, we're going to dip into our archives and take you on the journey that Money 2020 attendees have been experiencing over the years.
On November 12th, Facebook released the long-awaited Facebook Pay, and they're releasing it across all of their platforms, Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram, effectively eliminating a large barrier between their platforms as they continue to integrate them. So, we wanted to look back at some of the ideas shared here at Money 2020 and what they can tell us about Facebook's plans for the future. Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram have over 2 billion users. That's a third of the planet's population. Building out a vast international P2P payment system doesn't happen overnight. As a background timeline, Facebook launched in 2004 and within a year had 1 million users. In 2012, it bought Instagram, launched its IPO, and hit 1 billion users. In 2013, it bought WhatsApp. Facebook, Facebook Messenger, Instagram, and WhatsApp are the 4 most popular apps in mobile and the default access to the internet for millions of users. So, Deborah Liu is the Vice President of Marketplace and Commerce for Facebook, and she's spoken a few times over the years. In 2013, she spoke to us about the marketplace network Facebook was building around every user.
What else can you do on Facebook? It is not just about people-to-people connections, because you're actually connected to so much more in your life. You're connected to pages that you like. You might like Macy's. That is a page that you're connected to. You might be reviewing the Jack Threads app. That is an app that you have on your phone that you're excited about sharing. You might love a Nike shoe, and you like that on a page. All of those things are also part of Facebook. That is part of the experience of Facebook, not just being there with your friends, but also being there with the brands that you like, the products that you love, the apps that you use, the games that you play. All of that is part of Facebook.
At that time, Facebook had a large emphasis on growth. Growth was one of their verticals, and they built a payments growth team to increase conversion and make sure to keep updating and keeping up with the growth of the platform.
And in 2013, the app ecosystem on your mobile was brand new. Facebook was starting this process and converting the web users to the app users. This was less of a challenge for Facebook than it was for a lot of other apps, like retail apps. So Facebook decided to incorporate app ads into their newsfeed to guide people through the discovery process.
You can see how the ecosystem is moving, which is you get installs, you get engagement, and the final step, and this is where a lot of payments comes in, is purchase. So you think about purchasing. I actually like to shop online only. And how many times have you gone to a website or an app and you get to the end and you're like, this is what I'm faced with. I have an item I want and I have, 15, 20 fields to fill out. And I'm sitting there, I'm balancing a credit card in my lap on a 4-inch screen, and I'm trying to figure out, how can we do this better? This is the kind of future we hope to build. This is the future that we can make mobile payments. We can make it easy, we can make it simple. We can have apps like Jack Threads and all the other apps out there build an easy, simple system that can take you from newsfeed to purchase and back in just a minute.
So Facebook took away the burden of account creation, login, and filling out e-commerce fields for the other apps, as well as for the Facebook Marketplace. Deb returned in 2014 to share the newest developments of Facebook payments and to talk about Facebook as a payments company.
So what's interesting is commerce is changing. As I was telling you, 40 minutes a day, or 1 in 5 mobile minutes are spent on Facebook. And we've seen so many companies come to us and say, I have built my business using Facebook tools. And at first, we didn't really understand the details of this, and then we actually started investing and investigating and understanding and growing it. And now we've built a huge suite of tools to make our partners successful in this space. So here's just a few examples. we have built a custom audience tool. So imagine that you have 50,000 customers, and you want to engage those customers. Email marketing is getting less and less engaging over time. So how do you find people where they are? You can find them on Facebook. And using custom audiences, you can upload a list and say, you know what, I want to find these customers who've lapsed my ecosystem. I want to bring them back because I have a new product to sell. And then beyond that, you could say, you know what, I have a base of customers I love. I want to grow my business over time. So I want to find more customers like this. And so then we built the lookalike system. The lookalike system actually is really unique, which is this. Let's say you bring your 50,000 clients, and you upload them, and then you say, find me more customers like this. Well, we go into our system, and we actually said, did you know that actually your clients are actually mostly women, young, urban, college-educated, and really enjoy hiking? Those are systems, these are things that we can find in our system that are unique as part of Facebook. And then we can find you specifically the customers that are like the ones who've already made purchases with you, the ones who signed up for your credit card, the ones who signed up for your service or downloaded your app. And that is really, really powerful.
So in 2014, they allowed their merchants to share customer data that they already had and created a customer profile to help merchants identify and advertise specifically to customers that were similar. Deb Liu returned in 2015 for a conversation with Alex Rampel, who is a partner with Andreessen Horowitz. During their talk, they spoke about how commerce was organic on the Facebook platform at first.
Yes. People would use their profiles to promote their own services. They would create pages to promote a business, and groups would create pages around fan clubs or common interests and would promote goods or services.
So Deb Liu and Alex Rampel talked about how they were engaged to eliminate the friction in payments to help those users.
In that is just the opportunity that you see in commerce on a platform like Facebook and in all the social activity that's happening, is that on Instagram, people are posting about things that they bought or clothing that they love. This is just happening at scale already. And so then the question is, how do we actually make that happen so that businesses can get involved, so that transactions can actually happen? And that's where the next step is.
And I imagine that's how you think about payments as well, because if people could pay very, very easily, and without friction, more commerce would happen from these experiences, because right now to buy that car takes a lot of effort. And if you could put your thumb down on your iPhone or on your Google phone or your Android phone, it makes it a lot easier and more transactions would happen, and that helps you.
I think that's one of the biggest challenges on the platform, is that right now commerce is happening, but there isn't sort of the last mile, right? You go to a website, maybe you enter, there's a lot of friction. And so maybe you go to someone's M site and you set up an account, you put in your email address and password, and maybe you put in your credit card information, shipping, and there's just a lot of friction in that. And so just us as an industry, if we can find a way to close that loop and make it easier, so when the distance between seeing something and then wanting to make that purchase is that much more simple, then we can actually close the loop and make those transactions happen.
So you have a unique background in that you came from PayPal and you were there for a long time, and then you went to Facebook, and now you run everything that you run today. What lessons do you think, given that everybody here, or a big chunk of people here, are payment professionals, what lessons do you think people can learn from your time at Facebook, or what advice would you give to them?
Payments is such an enabler of transactions, but people see it as a commodity in a lot of ways. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges for an industry like this, which is people see payments as something which just needs to happen at the very end. But actually, it can be something that's value add in the world as well, that if we can actually solve this mobile conversion problem, that if we can stitch discovery and conversion together into transactions, that's magical. The thing about Facebook that's fascinating, and what I've learned over the last few years, is that when you bring people together, they actually want to do commerce. They actually want to connect. That's just another way to connect, just like sharing photos, just like sharing videos, just like talking to each other, that they want to transact. And so that's the magic, which is finding ways to actually help them transact. So an example is, I was checking out the site that someone sent me. It's a Facebook group, and they buy and sell marbles. And these are you think kids' marbles, right? You get a bag, it's like $1, and it's like 10 of them. Actually, these are works of art. I've never seen marbles like this, but they actually sell for several $100s on Facebook in these groups. And they actually do it in an auction style. So in the comments, you actually bid for these marbles. And what's really fascinating about it was that this was just a group of enthusiasts that got together and said, let's just talk about something we love. And now let's actually find a way to connect to actually trade these things. But the thing that is the commonality amongst all of that is trust. Because are you willing to send somebody several $100s and receive a marble through the mail that is what people described it as? That's such a fascinating thing, which is, if you can actually safely enable that transaction where you can know that person, have authentic identity, have community tied to it, but then also make the payment transaction really safe, then you can enable all of those types of enthusiast groups and hobbyist groups to create this kind of activity on their own. And so these are the kinds of things that I've learned at Facebook, which is when you connect people and you make it easy to transact, those two pieces have to come together, which is something that people want to connect and buy, and then actually making the transaction possible. When those two things come together, that's actually what makes magic happen.
So in 2016, Facebook's Mary Koo, who is the product director, was taking part in a power panel with Pinterest, Stripe, and Shopify about the growth of social commerce, or the notion of commerce being integrated into the social sharing experience. And she shared how Facebook was thinking about commerce and payments as she answered the questions of Zia Danielle Wigter from Shop Talk.
We don't talk about social commerce at Facebook, frankly. In fact, we often talk about it more from a mobile commerce point of view, or just commerce as a whole. And we look at it across the spectrum. It's people who are interacting with each other to buy and sell. So we just launched a marketplace experience on Facebook. It's also people interacting with small businesses to do this. And so much has changed since some of our very initial efforts, the drive around mobile, just the level of commerce activity that happens naturally on the platform. Yep. All of those things are very different than some of the first efforts that happened at Facebook very early on.
Okay. And do you consider sort of all the different components of commerce within Facebook part of social commerce? The messenger, the ability to purchase directly from your Facebook page, the marketplaces initiatives. You guys are obviously doing a lot of different things to help drive this forward.
Yeah. And really what we're looking to do is just try to create the most seamless experience that we can for customers, depending on what specific item they're trying to purchase, what kind of purchase they're making. Yep. Each of those experiences is a little bit different. Yep. And so that's really what we're trying to drive, is how do we pull all of these experiences together to create the one experience that's most useful for the person at that point. One of the ways that people start talking about social commerce was really around this notion of the transaction, and I think that a number of us really look at the transaction as just being that endpoint. And from a Facebook perspective, we definitely look at this as we want to give the merchant choice in terms of how best to fulfill that transaction. Yep. And you'll see that across a number of our products as well.
So because commerce was naturally taking place on the platform, creating a seamless payments experience inside the platform made complete sense. That's obviously what was happening from 2013 to 2016. But once you have those rails built, creating a P2P app also makes a good deal of sense.
Right. And as you can see, Facebook Pay is built on a very solidly considered foundation. Not all P2P apps have been profitable, and Facebook already allowed P2P and transactions on Facebook.
Now they're expanding to allow transactions across all of their apps.
And at the same time, they launched business sites on WhatsApp that can take payments.
So they're going to give Venmo a run for their money in a way other P2P apps haven't yet.
And they are quite literally the network to do it.
So, Rachel, how do we work out the next thing that they're going to do?
Well, Roland, so far they have shared all their plans at Money 2020. So I would buy your ticket for October now.
I think I may already be required to be there anyway, but for everyone else, get your tickets before the price break at the end of the month. Thank you everyone for listening. We will have a fresh episode in 2 weeks after a brief team gathering in London.
Yes, London is going to be fun. We are all convening to plan for next October. And if you are tuning in for the first time, don't forget to subscribe to the MoneyPot wherever you listen to your podcasts.
This is
Ascential.
This is Ascential Audio.